Friends, Americans, countrymen, lend me your ears. We need to talk about America's thing for naming things. It's like a dog marking its territory, but with less sniffing and more executive orders. Remember when France gave us the Statue of Liberty? Beautiful gesture. Did we rename it Lady Liberty? No, we kept the French name because it sounded better. And because we were too busy building railroads and forgetting about the Trail of Tears to bother. The latest target of this naming obsession, the Gulf of Mexico. That's right, folks. President Trump, in a move that surprised absolutely no one, has decided to rename it the Gulf of America. Because, make America great again, apparently includes claiming dibs on large bodies of water. This isn't even the first time he's tried to put his stamp on geography. Remember Mount Denali? Back to McKinley we go. Honestly, at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if he tried to rename Canada South North Dakota. Now, some people might say, John, it's just a name, lighten up. And to those people, I say, you clearly haven't been paying attention to my show for the last decade. Names matter. They carry history, culture, and in this case, a whole lot of salt water. So let's dive into the choppy waters of this debate, shall we?
Okay, let's hear it for the patriotic patriots. The folks who think renaming the Gulf is a swell idea. Their argument boils down to this. America, heck yeah, we're the greatest country on earth, so why shouldn't we have a Gulf named after us? It's in our backyard after all. Plus, think of the tourism. Visit the Gulf of America, where the beaches are white, the water is warm, and the margaritas are, well, let's not get ahead of ourselves. They also argue that it's about time we stood up for ourselves. For too long we've been pushed around by the global community. This is our chance to show the world that we're not afraid to assert our dominance, even if it's just over a body of water. It's a bold move, sure, but as they say, you can't make an omelet without breaking a few international treaties. Now, before you dismiss them as a bunch of flag-waving, bald, eagle-worshipping lunatics, consider this. Maybe they have a point. Maybe America does need a little more pride in its step. And what better way to do that than by renaming a giant body of water after ourselves?
Okay, now it's time to hear from the other side. The traditionalists. These are the folks who are shaking their heads at the whole debacle, muttering things like international law and basic human decency. They argue that renaming the Gulf is not only geographically confusing, it's bordered by Mexico, Cuba, and a bunch of other countries that aren't exactly thrilled about the change, but also a diplomatic disaster. Imagine going to a dinner party and deciding to rename the host's dog. Sure, you might think Sparky is a better name than Fifi, but it's not your place to decide. And just like that, you've managed to offend the host, their dog, and probably everyone else at the party. Now replace dog with major body of water, and host with several sovereign nations, and you start to get an idea of the scale of this diplomatic faux pas. They also point out that this whole thing sets a dangerous precedent. What's next? Renaming the Atlantic Ocean the Sea of Freedom? Claiming the moon as the 51st state? The possibilities for international chaos are endless. Plus, let's be honest, Gulf of America just doesn't have the same ring to it. It's clunky, awkward, and frankly, a little desperate.
Section 4. Can't we all just get along and go swimming? Look, I get it. America, you're going through some things. You've got identity issues, a bit of an ego problem, and a tendency to overcompensate. But maybe, just maybe, there's a better way to deal with your insecurities than by renaming things that don't belong to you. The Gulf of Mexico, regardless of what you call it, is a shared resource. It's a place of stunning natural beauty, a vital ecosystem, and a source of livelihood for millions of people. Instead of fighting over what to call it, why not focus on protecting it? Let's work together to address the very real threats of pollution, climate change, and overfishing. Let's make sure that future generations can enjoy this incredible body of water, whether they call it the Gulf of Mexico, the Gulf of America, or Bob. At the end of the day, isn't it more important to be good stewards of our planet than to win a petty naming contest? I think so, and I'm pretty sure deep down you do too. Section 5. In conclusion, it's more fun to share, so there you have it. The Great Gulf of America debate, a microcosm of America's complex relationship with the rest of the world. It's a story about pride, insecurity, and the importance of sharing. And while it might seem silly on the surface, it raises some important questions about identity, diplomacy, and the limits of American exceptionalism. But hey, at least it's given us something to laugh about. And in these uncertain times, a little laughter is probably the best medicine we've got. Just make sure to take it with a grain of salt, or, a whole gulf full.